How y'all good looking, sexy folks doing today? Hope you're doing all right. Are we live? Can you hear me? Give me a yo if you can hear me. Wow, there's like some happy horse shit going on in the ideas room. I'm gonna need to check on it. Oh, good God, someone's down there honking. Did some motherfuckers park in front of me again? No, looking good. Looking good. All right. If you can hear me, give me a yo. This is the live drive jive. No, it's not drive. We're not driving. So it's not a drive jive. It's a live jive archive edition. Friday Night Live. Hey, what the fuck? Monsieur Teacher, you out there in Happy Land, man? Can you hear me? Let me see if I can log into my computer, man, and check the chat. We've got a delivery of um water coming here in a minute. So our little happy time will be interrupted by the water delivery guy whenever that happens. Whew, man, hey, what the father mother is going on? Let me see if I can log in and check the chat, guys. Can you hear me? Give me a yo if you can hear me. Can you hear me all right? It's Canada Day. Seriously? I never heard of that before. I didn't know Canada had a day. You guys have never broken away from England. How can you have your own day? Is that bow before the Queen Day, kiss her ring, eat arse biscuits? Is that what you guys say? Do you go bow before the throne of Trudeau, Prince of Canada? Because he can't be a king, right? Because you guys already have a queen. So what is he? He's just a lord. Do you guys call him Lord or Sir? Do you call him Sir Trudeau or Lord Trudeau? Can you enlighten me, Miss Mary Moon? I don't know how you guys run things up in New Scotland. Because if you still bow to a monarchy that's controlled by an old demonic witch, then you guys don't have a happy day of independence. But you should launch a revolution, 1776 worldwide. You guys could start a Canada Day. I support you in that. I'm all for it. I'll go up there. I would even fight in the war to liberate Canada from the oppression of the Brits. I'd be down with that. You guys want me to come? I'll grab my AR-15 on my way over. And how would that work exactly? Can you tell me how that would work, Miss Mary Moon? My computer is not ready yet, so I'll have to get my happy ass up here and check the chat. What a pain in the bungholio. It's like dealing with Trudeau, man, as bad as things get sometimes around here. All right, I'm gonna put it down to right about there. So is Mary explaining to us how Canada Day works? Is that what she's doing? The three separate colonies of the United Canadians, no New Scotland and New Brunswick, were united into a single dominion within the British Empire called Canada. So you guys should just celebrate the Queen's birthday. You shouldn't fuck around and say you've got a Canada Day or something. That's not polite. I'm sure that the Queen of England doesn't appreciate your guys' play at independence and autonomy and sovereignty. You guys don't have any sovereignty. I'm never gonna be able to figure that camera out. How's the stream strength, guys? Can you guys hear me all right? My thing is not connecting to the internet. It says connecting, but it's been saying connecting for what are we going on? 10 minutes now? 5 minutes. I don't celebrate any of it. Just watch it all play out. Okay. Good, Miss Mary Moon. You shouldn't participate in something that you don't have any control over or any influence on. Saw her. because she's a big butt, but she's got dark black hair. And um, I wanted to hit on her because I thought she was a good looking gal. And so don't tell my wife, right? Just flirtation. I think flirtation at the workplace is important to stay motivated. And so I started having breakfast with her, and it turns out she was actually Romanian, and she was not happy with her situation at work. And I'm like, well, I said, you need to push back then against any bullshit they're trying to feed you and just make your contract better and just make your position better. But she found another job, and so she just told me that she resigned because I hadn't seen her all week since we started going back to the school, and I was asking about her, and so I contacted her on Ding Ding, which is the stupid app that we use for our enslavement. It's like a Zoom app or a LinkedIn app. But yeah, it's a slave app. You're supposed to log into the slave app every day and check the work situation, but I only log in like once a week. Like, you can't make me do that. And they're like, one day we will have a chip in your brain and all of the alerts will appear before your eyes in a virtual manner. You won't have a choice about logging in or sleeping in occasionally. Jeff's YouTube messages will pop up when I'm sleeping. I'll be like, I want to sleep in. And Jeff will be like, hey, Frank, did you get your lazy ass up? And it'll be beeping in my head. Beep. Signal strength looks bad, man. I don't think it's going to connect. I thought this would be a fun way to do it, but it's turning into a nightmare. Frank disappeared in 1 second. That was weird. Now he's back. What the fuck? Yeah, the signal strength is not working. I can see that this live stream is not going to last. I'm going to have to reboot it. I can see all the bells and whistles are saying "fuck you." The Vipna, Vipna, Vipna on my laptop is not logging in. It's not even responding. But the work app is bubbling. It's throwing up all kinds of alerts. So my Romanian friend, she says, I've been super busy. I said, okay, so I hadn't seen you in a long time, was wondering how you're doing. She said, I've been super busy and super happy. I resigned. So that's always nice when you feel especially motivated by quitting a job. Um, I never make my job situation one that I feel like I need to resign. But if I do, then it's because I've already lined up a better job. And I think she did the same thing. Let's see what this guy says. Hi, have you taken your nucleic acid test today? This was yesterday. And I'm like, one guy responded, no, I haven't. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I'll do that once a week. They're like, no, you got to do it every 2 days. And I'm like, yeah, I don't gotta do nothing. It's entrainment, is what it is. They're trying to force you into a system of entrainment where you do these things second nature. You just do them without question. And that's what they get over here. 99% of the people here in the Twilight Zone, they just do exactly what they're told without even thinking about it, without even questioning it. I was talking to one of the gals in HR who volunteered to work in the testing, to like put the hazmat suit on, which isn't much of a suit anyway, and to volunteer for a couple of hours and swabbing people. And I'm like, do you even know what's in those swabs? I said, there could be anything in there. And she's like, oh, they're just cotton swabs. I'm like, how do you know that? Have you run those so-called cotton swabs through a scientific alchemical uh, laboratory and tested the nature of the cotton and see if it is in fact just pure cotton, that there's nothing being piggybacked in on it? And she's like, no, I haven't done that. And I said, then you're just living a lie, an illusion. You could be poisoning the entire populace with your behavior, and you don't even fucking check it out. That's why me personally, I would never volunteer for a position like that because unless I have the know-how and the means to test, to take random tests, maybe I'd grab 100 out of the batch and then run them through the laboratory and see if it's just pure cotton on a stick, right? Or if there might be something funky floating around in there. Because who knows what they're fucking up to. And then I would want to see the entire. See, that's how they get everybody fucking locked in and compartmentalized. Because gal like her, she's like, well, I just went down with the training. We're supposed to look in your mouth and look for any signs of, you know, disease and blah blah blah, and then we swab you. And I'm like, okay, but you haven't thought it through. You haven't thought about the delivery systems and you haven't thought about the entire process of where these things go and how they're kept. What's the word? How they're kept free from contamination and how they're processed and what's the process and what are you looking for, and you haven't gone through that whole thing, but you volunteer for the head end of it, right? You're serving at the head of something. You have no idea what the body is or the tail is. Okay, that makes perfect fucking sense in this new normal. Perfect sense. But what are you gonna do? I'm just doing my job. Yeah, that's what the fucking Nazis said at the Nuremberg trials too, right? I was just doing my job. I only do a job that I understand. If I don't understand the nature of the job or the nature of what's going on, I can't do that job. Fucking don't even ask me to, right? I'm not going to participate in things that are unbeknownst to me. It looks like we're connected. Dark Journalist is going live in 30 minutes, guys. Do you want to hang out with me and watch the Frank Monday show, or do you want to go over and watch the Dark Journalist show? It's up to you. You make the call. If the ideas room stays at least a couple of folks, then I'll hang out. But if the idea room drops to zero, then I'll cut the stream. So it's up to you guys. If you hit the thumbs up, then I'll stick around. If we get at least a couple of thumbs up, we'll stick around. All right, you guys want to know what the world looks like? I was watching a video on Antarctica last night, and it was pretty obvious to me that this is the way the world looks. With the four archangels, right? Before me, Raphael. Behind me, Gabriel. Yeah, I don't think you should openly say that, Mary. You should say something like, yeah, I don't know what you should say, but I guess if that's legit, Kush, if that's okay, if that's not going to get you flagged for any reason. But thank you for telling me. That sounds like fun. Enjoy your bike ride. Tell everybody I said hello. Everyone you talk to, and that's a client of yours or whatever, tell them to sub Frank Monday on YouTube. Just be subtle about it. Be like, hey, do you watch YouTube? You might enjoy this guy, Frank Monday. Just check him out. Look him up. I would appreciate that. That would put the lead in my pencil. If somebody comes to my chat room and says that Miss Mary Moon, sent them my way, I will show them special attention and care. Okay, all right. So here we got it. This is different. Okay, no, it's not. It's okay. So this particular symbol. Good. I'm glad to hear that, Mary. I've been praying for that for years, right? And I know a lot of other people have too. Um, so this particular symbol, it's got air in the north, and then earth in the east, fire in the south, and water in the west. So everything's correct except for air and earth. These are in incorrect positions. Earth should be in the north and air should be in the east. So for me, I like to hold it above my head. I think it's mislabeled by whoever did it. It should be above your head. That way, Earth is to the north. That way, you can read it this way: lesser brandishing of the pentagram. So that's what it looks like in in schematic form. That's the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. Hey guys, Monday's back. Yeah, a squaw and stationary Earth. That's the way it looks, man. Don't believe me? Try it. Check it out. Man, it is fucking hot in this room. I'm supposed to have I got one for you, Mary, before you head out, if you've already head out. Big brother's watching you, kiddo. Let me check this chat room here and see if we got any action. Oh, we got a live drive jive from 14 hours ago, and someone watched it. Maybe my wife got in here on my computer and was checking out my live drive jive. I gotta watch that shit, man. If she's watching them in her free time, that's a little bit spooky. I never would have imagined that she would do that. Do you guys like the icon I put on for Friday Night Live? Wow, this is streaming very good. Okay, Callie Karen's here. Come to watch Dark Journalist. Frank Monday and fans, come to watch Dark Journalist. I thought about it, Callie Karen, but I never seemed to benefit from it. I love DJ and I love to watch the Dark Journalist show, but the actual benefit is very limited. Um, I've noticed that the most benefit I get from watching JP Farrell's fun to watch, yeah, at 6 p.m. Okay, no, it's 9 p.m. Um, it's 9 p.m., Callie. It's 9 a.m. here in Peking, and it's 9 p.m. back in the States. Oh, 6 California time. I gotcha. So no, yeah, it's um DJ lives in Boston, so it's gonna be 9 p.m. Boston when he goes live. I'm trying to find my JP Farrells right now that you mentioned the man. There we go. I've got the JP Farrells. Yeah, you're in Chinafornia, right? California. Good place to be, man. Beautiful weather, beautiful scenery, beautiful mountain. It's very mountainous. It's got everything. It's got mountain, it's got desert, it's got old growth forests, the redwoods up in the north, the Joshua trees down in the south, Death Valley. Beautiful place, California. Too bad it's run by a bunch of criminals, huh? Oh, I meant to turn this fan towards me because man, I'm already fucking sweating in here. Jesus Christ, put this fan right between my legs. Keep my balls cool. Um, yeah, so let's start off with a prayer. Goddess Astarte, Apollo and Aristeus, Lord of the universe, the Almighty, Creator of heaven and earth, Maker of all things both visible and invisible, Master of the light and Master of the darkness, we adore thee and we invoke thee, Yod Hey Vav Hey. Send me one of your divine agents, my holy guardian angel, with due haste, to protect and guide me through the innumerable snares of the earthly realm, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negative thought and endless human opinion, which obfuscates and obscures the subtle truth nearly to the point of complete confusion. The great work is before all things perfection of man by himself. That is to say, the complete mastery of his faculties and his future. It is especially the perfect emancipation of our will. Hail unto thee from the abodes of the night. Oh man, I should have washed my face. I'm looking a little washed out on here, huh? That's okay. Welcome to another live drive archive. I hope you are doing well today. Yeah, guys, so if you are interested in the Dark Journalist show, you should get over there and check it out. Don't spend your time here with me while DJ is going live, man. I mean, that's the real deal over there. He's going to open up a can of whoop ass on nobody in particular and rehash some of the old Nazi space Nazi sci-fi paradigm horse shit that leads to nowhere, a rabbit hole into confusion and of very little benefit. He's already got 500 people watching and he's not even there yet. He's running late. It's scheduled for 9 a.m., but he's not there yet. So if that's your jam, definitely get it on because I enjoy it. I'll probably listen to the show later. Um, or maybe we should all go over there and hang out in the ideas room, in the Dark Journalist ideas room. What do you guys think? Yes, yay or nay? The yays have it. Is it the yays or the nays, guys? Let me know. Put it in the comment thing. I'll tell you what I know. I know always that I am an outsider, a stranger in this century, and among those who are still but men. H.P. Lovecraft. Here's a good one. I have seen the dark universe yawning, where the black planets roll without aim, where they roll in their horror unheeded, without knowledge or luster or name. Lovecraft knew what was up. He knew that it was a spiritualized environment and that the material sphere was just the settling dust, the dredges of a supersensual realm of preforms that exist prior to their appearance in this earthly realm. All right, well, it says there's a couple of folks out there in the ideas room, but I don't know if what everyone's up to today, man. It's Friday evening, so I can't expect that people are gonna want to spend their time hanging out with Lunar Light Entertainment on a Friday night. I wanted to share some things with you guys though, and I had them printed up. So let's get to it. Let's get down to business. Number one, never forget. Never forget. Yeast ye be deceived. Never forget. Good. I was just checking the feed there, guys, to make sure that hey, Nicholas Smith is out there in the ideas room. Chris A is tuning in. Yo, sorry, Frank, I'm here. Just caught up doing something. Yeah, no worries, man. I just fired up the live stream. Give me a yo, guys, if the transmission strength is all right, because I'm always wondering if we're even getting a connection or if things are even transmitting. So welcome to the chat, guys. Welcome to the chat. Nice. We got Yo's coming in. All right. Good to see. Never forget, yeast ye be deceived. Least ye be deceived that this is the truth of the material sphere today. They got 24/7 coverage. And so, uh-oh. All right, guys. Dark Journalist is going live right now. Breaking news over at DJ's channel. He's going live. Dark Journalist and Dr. Joseph Farrell, Kecksburg, Comler, Roswell, UFO Mystery. So I've got their chat room open. You might want to tune in for that because that's going to be a dynamite presentation. It'll lead you down a uh, Disneyland MK Ultra space Nazi sci-fi fantasy rabbit hole, the likes of which you never thought you would encounter. I mean, you'll be jumping on penis-shaped rockets, shooting off into the stratosphere, banging your head against the celestial dome, and then pretending that you're floating around in space as you're over at a sound studio in LA somewhere, hanging out in a swimming pool, acting like you're doing a spacewalk. So make sure you tune in for that because Kubrick fired that all up in the 1960s with the Apollo missions Ad Astra and Do Good Magic, man. They were casting their black magic spell from Hollywood, right? From the hollow wood and just shooting it out all over the airwaves, ejaculating their nonsense onto your face. And people were eating it up. They're like, oh, heavenly manna, manna from heaven. Space Nazi sci-fi fantasy is like manna from heaven for some people. They really get into it. They're like, man, there's aliens running around all over the place. They think they're human brids. They think they are alien human hybrids. What a crock of horse shit, in my opinion. But I mean, hey, if you want to join the blue chicken cult with DJ, because he's going right down that same rabbit hole, man. He's making sure that he shills out for the man. Okay, Nicole Smith, I see you over there at I see I think I did I see you over there at DJ's place? No, his chat is so inundated with bots these days that it's hard to keep up anymore. Let's watch his intro though. Someone says it was really exciting. So I'll check the chat. I'll check the ideas room. I think the problem with DJ is that the X series has been very popular, but he's stretching it too far. Yeah, he hasn't even really, even in his X series recently, he hasn't talked about X steganography. He kind of lost the thread on that. I don't know if it ever really had much teeth in it to begin with. Yeah, his thesis, when he laid out his hypothesis, right? Um, it had a little more vim and vigor. But these days, yeah, it's kind of petered out. It happens with all things, though. I think there's something to it. I don't know if there's any validity in it, but I do think that there's something to it. The problem is he can't push the buck anymore. He can't, nobody can, none of us can. We're all self censoring due to what's been going on with freedom of speech. Yeah, I went deep into Ahriman, man. I listened to thousands of hours of Steiner stuff and read all of his documentation online, nearly all of it. Like I went to his website, all the branch shit that came off of it, and I got really deep into the Steiner shit, and it took me a solid 6 months to a year just to wrap my head around what he was talking about. And then it took me another year of diligent study in order to try to make sense of it and like syncretize it with what I already knew, like Hermetic science and Taoism and stuff. And finally, I figured it out. He was bringing forward mostly esoteric Hinduism into the Western tradition. And then I was like, then it just turned me off, man. It was extremely anticlimactic and it started to fall apart, like theosophy and anthroposophy and all of that. It just unraveled once I knew that it was just basically esoteric Hinduism and Buddhism. And I'm like, those are two areas of endeavor that I've never been interested in because they're more along the lines of dogma than they are genuine paranormal research. And so they don't give you the tools to do the research yourself. They just tell you about how it should be and how it's been written about for thousands of years by Indian mystics and stuff. And I thought, yeah, but I've never personally bought into Indian mysticism. I'm a I'm a more traditionalist with Taoist mysticism. And so once you get into that realm of God forms and incantations to awaken these archetypes within you, um, it just seems like flowery horse shit to me. Taoism is so I don't understand what you're asking, Chris. You're just giving me partial expressions there. Interesting. What's the takeaway? As for, I don't know, explain yourselves, guys. Give me full sentences. Otherwise, I can't really understand what you're talking about in the ideas room. Belief systems are an interface to the great all. Yeah, but how much of that is fantasy is my problem with it. You should structure up a belief system. I believe, and just my humble opinion, you should structure up a belief system on practice. So now this comes to me from Master Ni most directly, and he's 74 generations of Taoist masters. They believe that you should awaken the tools that allow you to perceive it directly without a pre-programming idea of what should be out there. So like the 18 revelations in Qigong are not given to you. They're talked about loosely, like this may or may not happen. And they give you like 4 or 5 of them. But they say there are 8 great revelations throughout your lifetime that you will awaken to. And so for me, those are the 22 major arcana of the tarot. But the key, like the keys of the tarot, okay, you were replying in real time to what I was saying. Good. Thank you, Chris. And don't be sorry, man. I mean, I won't necessarily totally be able to understand with it because you got to remember there's a delay. There's like a 20 to 30 second delay from what I say to what you hear. And then by the time you respond in the ideas room, it could be a minute to 2 minutes out. Right. So we can't imagine that we're, like back in the 1960s, you could communicate real time from the moon, right? Just by radio signal. So you could be up on the moon running around golfing and throwing out flags and stuff. And then um, at the base in Texas, they could receive that real time and transmit it out across the entire United States just via radio technology, real time, right? We don't have that technology anymore. I mean, it's 2022, and all of that high tech, really real time transmission technology is lost. So we've degraded. Thank you, Chris. I know it's a bit of a burden, but thank you for saying that, man, and thank you for understanding that I wasn't trying to be an asshole because I don't have to try to be an asshole. And you know I love you, man. And you know I was just getting a little bit confused. Nicole Smith, you're new to the channel. Let's ask Nicole some stuff. Nicholas. Oh, I thought that said Nicole, man. I left off the ass part of it. So Nicholas, how are you? Welcome to the chat. Are you able to keep up with my horse shit? Good man. Me too. Like, I thought it was really noble of Jordan Peterson recently to come out and give his opinion on Twitter. And then when Twitter kicked him off the platform, he's like, good fucking riddance then. If I can't speak my truth openly and without censorship and being chastised over an opinion, he wasn't stating it as fact. He was stating it merely as his opinion. And if he's not entitled to his opinion on a platform like Twitter, then fuck him. Who cares? Right. So I stand with you, Mr. Peterson, and I stand with you in the fight for truth and the fight for freedom of speech, even though I self censor now on a daily basis. Every time I fucking open my mouth, I got to self censor. So I'm with you in that battle, sir. And I agree with your opinion, Dr. Jordan Peterson, at least what you said about that situation. 100%. I stand behind you, sir. I've been saying it since day fucking one. In fact, I was well ahead of you in the game to try to battle against these things. But I got shut down, so I started self censoring. Oh, you found me on a Poke Runyon video. Nice. That's what we're all about here, man. I'm initiated into Poke Runyon's temple, and going to see Poke Runyon really saved my life, man. I was when I found Poke Runyon's material, I was contemplating suicide because things had gotten so dark with my wife. My wife is really, well, she was. There was a period in her life where she was a demonic being straight out of the darkest pits of hell in the way she treats me. And I mean, you want to talk about self censorship? Like, it goes all the way down to like, she's like, you can't wear that facial hair to work. You got to shave it up tight, baby. She even hates the mustache, but I can typically get away with the mustache most of the time. But Master Mantak Chia of, was he Dao Star? No, what was Garden of Dao? I think was his cult like following. Okay, Chris A's chiming in. He says, I just watched that Peterson reply. He does get a bit convoluted at times, but that's just him. Twitter is so awful. I stand with him on that principle alone. Okay, good deal. Yeah, and we don't all have to agree on everything, right? I don't agree with everything fucking Peterson says, and he does get a bit convoluted. He's fun to listen to. He is quite intellectual, obviously. He's got a lot of verbal tells or crutches that he uses, but he uses them to great effect. And I've picked up a few of them or tried to because it does make his just good God, I got this coffee bubbling up in my gut. It does make his dissertations uh more interesting and sound quite intellectually stimulating. But the problem with the truth is, especially the subtle truth, is it cannot easily be articulated into human speech because it's on a vibratory level above human speech. So, for example, your work, Chris, can cut more directly at the subtle truth than, like, say, my work, for example. A spoken work limited by the confines of articulation within the human language sphere cannot penetrate to the ultimate subtle truth. But like your work in geometric shapes and stuff, that gets us even closer. So that's why I think we should collaborate on a project. If we were to collaborate on like a 5 or 10 minute video directing people toward truth, I think we would do a better job than all of this verbal diarrhea, right? It really oftentimes leads nowhere. Chris chimes in and says, I could happily talk with the man. I have time for anyone who wants to explore an idea to the root. I agree with you. I would definitely revel in spending time in his company and shooting the shit. And at the same time, I mean, I would appreciate it just as much to spend time with you. Uh, I got a buddy that passed into the abodes of the night that my whole life, like all my work, was directed at spending time with him in our golden years, right? And so it really bummed me out that he died on me. He died at 50. And I almost, my brother and like the two guys that I really wanted to spend time with in my older days, both dropped dead in the same year, and it broke my heart, man. And I, like I said, I was contemplating suicide, and I had an aneurysm, and it really got dark, man. I think that was the dark night of the soul that everybody talks about. You know, my wife was just giving me shit daily, but she'd been giving me shit daily for over a decade, so that didn't really bother me anymore. I'd gotten used to that. But like then the death of two of my most beloved friends in the whole world really kind of fucking, rammed the spear in and twisted it around. And I was like, good God, even with two of my own beautiful children, I still thought, should I continue to struggle so hard to stay within this material reality? And then I finally, that's when, that's when the goddess spoke to me and she said, just return to Ansalon, right? Go back home for a while. And so I did. And I met with Pope Runyon at the top of his mountain retreat. And, I realized like I saw all the suffering he's been through and he still holds on. And so there's you got to hold on to that dream and believe in that ultimate grand climax at the end and never fucking give up. Just keep fighting it no matter how hard it gets. That's a part of the journey. Good. I'm glad you haven't forgotten about that. Yeah, good. Yeah, the Temple of Astarte, Nicholas Smith. Are you a member, Nicholas? If so, man, let's start a forum. I like to just think that these videos after YouTube approves them and they get put on my feed, that the commentary section is the kind of forum for at least for the Frank Monday channel. Man, DJ's fucking chat is going bananas. Um, 15, 16, 1,700 people over there watching the Dark Journalist show. I'll watch it later because with a chat with 2,000 people in it, there's no way to participate. And DJ doesn't put his chat into slow mode, so there's no way to participate anymore. He should put it on a 2-minute cooldown. You should only be able, like on a chat with 2,000 people, you should only be able to make a comment every 2 minutes. Otherwise, it just gets flooded with porn bots and shit. Um, oh, sweet Jesus in heaven, man! I gotta finish these, right? My little houses. My wife kept knocking them over, and so it kind of bummed me out. I had to repair them all the time before a final paint job, but I definitely will get in there and finish them at some point. Um, No, I'm a big fan of the goddess and poke runyon. Good. Temple of Astarte. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to join anybody's temple in order to study their material. You could pick up Poke's run. I mean, even like it's $25 to join his temple, and that entitles you to participate in any of his ceremonies at his house. I mean, if you can get there, it requires a flight ticket and hotels and renting cars and all that other horse shit. I spent about $20,000 just to go be initiated. But if you live in the area, it's a great opportunity. Southern California, by the way. But the $25 will get you 2 DVDs, the book, and you can take the test and be initiated neophyte into the temple, which also gets you like the indoor to their forums and stuff. Where I got to be honest with you, nobody ever really communicates on his forums, but they do post pictures of all of the live temple rituals that they do, which there are 4 a year, both equinoxes and both solstices. It would be awesome if you could participate live stream like via Zoom or something, but they haven't set that up yet. They should, but $25 and you're a life member. $25 gets you the book of Solomon's Magic, both DVDs to practice Solomon's Magic, and coupons on all the other books. I mean, like Seventh Ray editions going back to the 1970s. And you can participate directly with Adoration of Astarte. So yeah, I'm not trying to shill out for Poke Runyon, but he's a beautiful, beloved man that really loves his students, and he will do everything he can to help you along the way. Um, so this chapter 10 is all about sex magic, right? Yeah, it's an awesome deal. And when a guy makes a deal like that, right? I mean, look at the quality of this book, right? It doesn't even have a price on it, but it's like 300 pages in giant, look at the size of it, giant print format, really nice. I mean, it's just paperback, but it's really got his heart in it. This is his magnum opus. And he said that the only reason he even got into publishing this material was because one of his students came in and learned his techniques and then went ahead and wrote books and published behind his back and claimed that it was his own research. And so Polk's like, no, Polk set the record straight by publishing on his own. Yeah, so I'm getting a little convoluted too. I'm all over the fucking place, Chris. Um, The number is 10 for the fingers of Adam Cadmon. Only because the first man counted thus and made it so. It reduces to nothing and expands to infinity without thy calculations, without thy machinations, is what it should say. From the book of Astarte by Master Thabion. Yeah, so this book is just filled with all the good, man. All the good. In fact, I've been studying ceremonial magic since day one, since I was 13. And I realized when I got my hands on the Golden Dawn Complete System of Magic in combination with Modern Magic by Donald Michael Craig and Israel Regardie's audio tapes on invocation, that was it. These three items was all I ever needed for an entire lifetime of study. And so the same is true with Taoism, like the Tao Te Ching and Chuangzi and Gaoan from the Fujian Mountains of Foshan. Like, I mean, you could invoke those subtle axioms and aphorisms 100 times a day, and what more? What more do you need? You don't need to go looking in all directions for some additional truth. Once you find the truth, you just embrace it. And recently, um, I came across some material here on the boob tube that is really worth your research if you want to listen to it. I'll give you the link. Let me look it up real quick. I'm gonna have to make a second cup of coffee, guys, and I'm still waiting on the water delivery guy. You can see how much water I stack in the house. I know it's in plastic bottles, but it's better than the shit coming out of the tap. That's for sure. I should probably just invest in a good filtration system, but it's more manageable this way. Okay, so here it is. It's from the Master Key Society, and it's called Feeling is the Secret, written in 1944 by Neville Goddard. So I'll put that in the chat. Um, if I can figure out how to copy and paste, which I cannot. So Feeling is the Secret, 1944 by Neville Goddard. Feeling is the Secret, 1944 by Neville Goddard. Okay, so I think you guys probably heard that transmission. Yeah, I like Damian Eccles. I listen to his live streams a little bit. I certainly think he's onto something, but he's a liar too. He's he says some things that are just directly antithetical to the reality of the tradition, and he reinforces them like quite regularly. And so with that being said, it's like if you lie to me once, how can I ever trust you again? And it's not that I believe that he's necessarily lying. It's that he hasn't seen into the direct reality of ultimate clarity. And so with that, I'm a little bit suspicious of him. Um, Socrates wrote, according to Plato, in the allegory of the cave. Is that the reference? It's one of the Socrates. I believe it was from the Apology. Yeah, it was from the Apology. Um, Accordingly, Socrates said, nothing bad ever happens to a good man. And so that guy got thrown in prison for 20 years. That means there was something, even though he was innocent, there was something definitely dark and intrinsically wrong with his psychic formation. And as a result, he was punished by the subtle arbiter. And so it's like, you got to wonder, what did that motherfucker get up to, either in this lifetime or in one of his past lifetimes, that made for such a response from the subtle realm? And so I'm a little bit suspicious of him just based on those grounds. And again, here's why I wanted to mention this. What did I just say it was called? Good God, man. I got distracted. Sorry about that. And I'm not trying to vilify his character. I'm just stating truths. Many times a baby will suddenly die, or someone will be killed in a car accident at a young age, and people wring their hands. Why would God allow this to happen? Oh, the humanity of it. And it's not God doing it. I mean, it's providence. And I don't believe in karma, so I don't think it's karmatic retribution. I believe that it's providence, that there's something being played out by the subtle arbiter, some sort of justice being executed against something in their aura. And I don't need to go too far afield myself. I mean, my beliefs shouldn't matter to you. The practice is first and foremost. Um, but if a guy gets on his live streams and is presumptuous upon intellectual brilliance within the realm of magic, and then at the same time makes statements that are provably untrue by any magi and anyone within the magical community, then you've got to be like, well, you know, he's deceiving the neophytes. So, Feeling is the Secret, 1944 by Neville Goddard, and I need to. Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. I need to type that in the chat before I get distracted again. Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. Feeling is the Secret. Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. Is the secret. All right, so there it is, and you can find that at the Master Key Society. And I highly recommend all of the Master Keys Society's material. I mean, they've really got a lot of dynamite stuff. So I'm going to get back in here and check the chat room, guys. And don't let me poison you on Damien Eccles. I mean, I know. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that confirmation, man. Thank you for that. And don't get me wrong, Nicholas Smith. I don't disparage anyone who's trying to do the great work. But let me read this comment from Chris A back up here. He says there are many hearsay people out there. They largely take the work of others, mash it together, and put a spin on it. But like you say, they haven't done the actual work. They stand at the gate, but they don't walk through. So I want to address that for a moment. I agree. And that's what I've been trying to be wary of in my own practice, is that I was all about doing the work first and foremost, jumping up at 3 a.m., doing my meditation, doing the kung fu, summoning divine energy, enjoying the manna from heaven, dancing with the birds in the sky, summoning thunder and lightning, making earthquakes appear. I got down to the work first and foremost. And once I completed the work based on just a couple of key texts, like I said, Golden Dawn literature, Donald Michael Craig's Modern Magic, some of Poke Runyon's audio series and stuff, but basically Israel Regardie's invocations, and then doing Chinese Kung Fu and Qigong. Once I broke through and got past the first few guardians of the gate, right? And only recently when it really started to wake up, and I'm like, now I could truly write. Really started to wake up, and I'm like, now I could truly write about it. But I'm 50, right? And if Dan Eccles sat in a prison cell and woke up overnight, I mean, maybe that's true. Maybe he did get the work done while he was imprisoned, uh, um, due to something he didn't even do. But I saw him talk about it, and I could see demonic forces surrounding him when he was talking about the slaughter of those children and the finding of the bodies and so on and so forth. And I thought, yeah, there's a possibility he participated in that, even if it was psychically. Like there's some dark matter around him, and he will pay for it. And he did pay for it, but it looks like he's got more work to do. Um, Me personally, I'm not saying I'm a fucking saint, but I am. I've done the work of a saint, and I've got my own vices too, and I need to wake up a little bit too, a little bit more to the truth of being less selfish. Yeah, and I like Rex too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Rex over at Rick Sparrow over at Leak Project. I love the man, but he won't allow. Here's the one thing that, in order to really follow the natural path and be a conduit of Tao, you have to make yourself the low ground, and you always have to humble yourself, like to the level of janitorial work. You're going in early and you're sweeping up, and you're working in food prep and cleaning the windows. And if you're not doing that first and foremost up front, but at the same time you're shilling behind the scenes, right? Like promoting Bitcoin and gold certificates and all these other illusions of material endeavors, then you're really being a bit of a charlatan, aren't you? Right? I mean, I'm not saying people shouldn't get paid for their work. I agree with it. I have a donations page. You can join me anytime on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday and buy me a one-time coffee. There's no obligation. But once they start putting the interaction behind paywalls and they're motivated mostly by profit models, then they're not really doing the work anymore. Yeah, and any method is fine. Like, to say that the magical practice of ceremonial magic is the only way to awaken is horseshit. I mean, say that to the housewife that washes the dishes and cleans the floor after her husband has gone to bed. That's a magical act right there. She provides an environment that this morning, and this is the first time in 20 years, I'm being playful. She does it periodically, but I do the majority of the housework in addition to going out and working 60 to 80 hours a week at a full-time job and still come home and make dinners and stuff, you know but I shouldn't even say that because that's what's required. That is the magical work. Getting on your hands and fucking knees and scrubbing the floor and making a wonderful love-filled dinner that nourishes your family. My wife does it. She sometimes picks up the pace more than others, but she's her biggest thing is she loves getting that payout every month. Seeing my salary come in, and she spends it on me and the kids, right? And she spends it on herself too. But yeah, Rex is definitely an entertaining guy. I enjoy Rex. Nanu. I have my own ticks too. I do the yos and the lead in my pencil and that kind of thing. So we all have our little idiosyncrasies that hopefully help contribute to the great work. Yeah, you're right. And everything is just exploration. And everything is just Master Nee said it this way. He said getting down to the real work is just about living a normal life. And the highest aspiration of Taoism is a life of normalcy, right? Uh, Clearly consistent patterns that give you things tangible like longevity and oh no, my thing's dying. I think you probably heard that beep. Um, that lead to things like longevity and and they ultimately flower into happiness and fruition of things like a decent life, a life of normalcy. He said the highest thing is a natural death, that you can die without too much trouble in the end. And that'll mean different things for different people at different stages in their evolution, their spiritual evolution. But no, I shouldn't get into the pattern of judging people, because then I should not stand in judgment of other men, thus I will not be judged by other men, right? Shouldn't do unto others as you would not have done unto yourself, and you shouldn't do unto yourself what you would not have others do unto themselves, or you know don't interfere with other people's lives and stuff. And to be honest with you, like Rex Bear, Dark Journalist, Daniel over at DJ Dark Journalist, Damian Eccles, Jimmy over at Bright Insight, all these guys, I love what they're doing. I love their work. And I love when they're being totally forthright and honest. But when I see the deception sometimes coming through, that's when I'm a little bit wary. And I think, well, yeah, you're doing your work and and the great work, and you're contributing to it. I do believe all of those guys are contributing to it. Paula Asteria, I love her too. she's in her own way is engaged in the work, but she's chasing the bells and whistles. She's not really that interested in building a magical community of paranormal research. Like if she was, she would also send a little love back my way. Like I've sent tons of love her way. DJ does. That's one of the reasons I love DJ, and I would never say a bad word against him, even though I don't think he's really going deep anymore. You know, and I don't think that he can. I don't think that any of us really can go deep because there's certain rabbit holes like Pizzagate and all that other horse shit that's just not allowed to be exposed or talked about anymore. And especially the big um, system of mind control, entrainment, and physical assault that we're under right now. Like we're in the throes of it and we're not even allowed to talk about it at all. It's like you can't even fucking mention it. If you do, they shut you down immediately. So I could see that the general environment in all these social networks has become extremely toxic. Huh? EA coding, yeah. He's a rock and roll guy. From what I understand, he got kicked off the platform. Like he got first he got demonetized and then he eventually got banned from YouTube. Is that correct? Yeah, I tuned into him a couple of times and I'm like, yeah, this guy is a showman. He's a lot like Anton LaVey in that respect, that he's in it to win it. He's looking for the dollars. He wants to be worshipped, you know, because he's a good looking guy. He's got a nice body. He got rock hard penis, I'm sure. He's got like a what has he got? He had a like a porn star girlfriend or something that would participate in the in his online rituals of devil worship and invocation of demonic entities. And that's the guy, right? Yeah, I watched him a couple of times and I thought, yeah, this is good fun, but it's got nothing to do with real magic. He's not really awakening people to the truth. Um, he's a charlatan first and foremost, a theater guy. Um, so yeah, he was in it for the theatrics. I don't believe that he ever had any real magical power other than, you know, looking pretty good. That's animal magnetism. That's definitely something. Um, what else can I say about him? Again, I didn't watch much of his stuff because it wasn't of interest to me. I mean, you've got a limited amount of time on this earth. Like you guys tuning in for me, you know, thank you for that. I certainly appreciate your presence. This is why I do it. Like I couldn't jump on eat. What was his name again? I couldn't. Yeah, theater is definitely magic. It's one of the higher forms of subtle magic. But I couldn't jump on his chat and interact with the folks there. Like, I'll tell you another one that I watched a little bit, and he gets pretty close to truth, but again, he's like, okay, I've got the truth to reveal, right? Like, there's something more beyond the ordinary that some golden ticket into a inner chamber, right? And he's like, here it is, and I'm selling it for a $10 a month membership, or I think his stuff is even more expensive than that. But I'm talking about Morgue Official. You guys might know Morgue Official. I don't know his YouTube channel name, but he's got really some interesting videos, and he's a very charismatic guy. And he used to work as a sword swallower in Hollywood and in circus shows and stuff. So those guys are first and foremost showmen. But I went into Morgue Official's chat room and tried to like some of the shit Morgue says is just absolutely asinine. And I was like challenging a little bit of it. And they just laid in and attacked me. And I was like, this is the way you guys spread your truth, is through vilifying and attacking people who challenge your notions. Yeah, so it's like if you can't come into it, like I don't know, you guys could say whatever you want out in the chat room to each other and to other people who might join us in the future. But if we don't have like tolerance and love and a sense of being the low-lying ground, right? The custodians and the janitors of this material realm, then why are we even here? We're here to express love is the law, love under will. And I mean, Crowley had it right. I know that Crowley was a bit whacked in his later days, but Crowley cut straight to the truth immediately. And yeah, So these other guys, they're cult leaders basically, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if I was going to join someone's cult, maybe EA Keating, especially if I was like 19 and just in it to win it, going to Slayer shows and, you know, Metallica and Iron Maiden, that guy would appeal to me a lot, definitely. But then again, like he might be the catalyst that would push me into the dark side. You know, I might be kidnapping, cat or dog or what, really raise that orgon energy, and send it out into the world like a Ferrari or something, So that's a path that ends in sickness and death. So I don't recommend it. I know that it's real and it does work, and that's what Hollywood's all about, fear and loathing and the adrenochrome and stuff. But that's the antithesis of what we're supposed to be doing by serving God, and I'm not gonna wax religious here. You see me with my black magic and my JP Farrells. You know that I'm not gonna tell you should be a monk in a monastery somewhere, supplicating yourself at the feet of the divine imagery, because that's another form of idolatry. And I really like that, Chris, your comment that you wrote on my last video was fucking dynamite and cut right to the heart of the matter. Like, I'll see if I can pull it up here real quick because I want to read it verbatim. Uh, how do I get into the comments section on my channel? Bear with me for a moment, guys. Um, Well, yeah, I definitely have my opinion. I mean, anybody you ask me about, I'm just going to give my forthright opinion, Nicholas. And thanks for participating, Nicholas. It's good to see you. Bless you, Chris. Thank you, sir. And I appreciate your beautiful comments recently on my videos, man. They're really contributing to the message and bringing additional clarity. So I guess on my last stream, I was talking about AJ and brand, and Chris says that I think when you've been keeping an eye on things for long enough, you begin to get suspicious, right? And we should be a little bit skeptical and suspicious, right? I mean, that's healthy critical thinking. When they seem to be allowed platforms to speak openly, right? I mean, I sometimes reiterate verbatim something they said, and I get a community strike. And at the same time, they rise to 5 million followers. So the truth movement, yeah, it was definitely, what's the word? Usurped. It's not the one. Infiltrated with agent provocateurs, right? It was anticipated decades ago, and they've been working to keep it within bounds for years now. Yeah, well said, man. Totally. The ones who get silenced are the ones who look beyond and see that most of the truth movement is wrapped up in the physical. By goal. Yeah, see, this is what I was just saying a moment ago. And maybe it was because you inspired me, but I felt it and seen it for years. And maybe I just didn't sit down and use the high level of eloquence and articulation that you put into this comment on my last video, Chris. So thank you for that. Prepper survival, abortion, price of fuel, it's all materially based. But speak about God, about having them having removed religion or the higher realms and the perspective that comes from that, and from any place of knowing at least, and you're kept hidden and out of sight. Yeah, and which is okay too for me. Like, I'm gonna check the ideas room and see how you guys are keeping up with that. Okay, so are we still connected? Make sure you give me a yo occasionally to make sure that we are still connected. Um, because I can never tell, and I may waste my breath on talking a bunch of horse shit that never gets recorded or heard. So I got the water boiling going over there. I'm gonna brew up another coffee. Interesting. Thank you for that, Chris. Yeah. So one of my friends recently told me, he's like, I can openly talk about this. He's a bro of mine. Troy Sanford over at Troy's team. He does dynamite kung fu stuff, and he works with Jackie Chan's stunt team, and he does all of like the kung fu choreography here in Beijing that goes into foreign films and local films and stuff. He's the liaison between the foreign rising talent and the film industry here in China. And I work with them. We've made a couple of things. You've probably seen it here on the channel. But I went to have like a 3 hour sit down with him the other day, and he he directly put me on the spot, and he's like, "Why have you gone dark on Chinese media?" He's like, "Why aren't you promoting yourself? Why aren't you engaged in the great work of spreading kung fu internationally and through Chinese media and stuff?" He's like, "What happened to Frank Monday? Why did Frank Monday disappear off of Chinese media?" Because in 2019, when I went home and I secured my YouTube account and secured my US bank account, I made a decision that I was cutting myself off from Chinese media because I don't want it to interfere with my day-to-day job. I'm just an English teacher over here, and I don't want to be a superstar. I could have been. I could integrate with the movie scene and blah 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 and get into blah, the, the miasma of Hollywood nonsense that happens here in China. But when I went to Hollywood in 2019 and tried to get legitimate work on like upbeat programs there in the States, they all turned their back on me. Even family offered me nothing. And so I was like, okay, so I'm the Beijing guy, right? And that makes me crazy or whatever, makes me, eccentric. And I'm like, okay, but why should I put my good life? Because I've worked in the industry and it's vapid. It's worth very little. And my ideas, like of penetrating clarity into realms of spirit, would never be promoted openly. And by being a part of that industry here, I would be sticking my head above the crowd, and my own private career. That's basically what I told him. I'm like, man, I don't need it. He's like, yeah, I'm picking up 1,000 followers a day or whatever on Chinese media. And he's like, I got over 3 million on his account, and it's just kung fu based. And he's like, if you start commenting on my videos and open your own channel and start doing Monday Dao thing, even your tarot or whatever on the Chinese media platforms, he said, I'll promote you. You'll pick up, maybe 100, 200. He said in a short period of time, you could even exceed me because you're a big talker and you're not just doing action stuff, which is a very niche market. Whereas like magic is becoming more mainstream. And he said in China, you could probably amass, 50 million followers overnight. And I'm like, man, think about, and I'm like, number one, are you getting paid? Or are they just using you to amass followers and stuff like that? And he's like, yeah, that's part of it, isn't it? He's like, no, you can't really get any money out of the Chinese social media system. And I'm like, well, then what's it worth? And he's like, well, I get money other ways through selling T-shirts and products and stuff like that, merchandising. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with that either. And his merchandise is top of the line for the industry, like Kung Fu pants with his logo on it and shit, Kung Fu T-shirts. I support him 100%. But it's like, is that yeah, is that really what I want to do? And it's like, it doesn't really matter what I want to do. Well, yeah, it does, because here's what I want to do. I want to keep my family safe, right? And I don't want undue attention. And like my pops always said, he said, if you stick your head above the crowd, they will throw shit at you. Which means the guys in those industry, they already have it on lockdown. They don't want any rising stars. Like here on YouTube, Russell Brand doesn't want any fucking competition with me. AJ didn't want any competition from anybody. AJ didn't make himself the low ground where he, platformed and propelled other people. He did a couple of people, a couple of hot looking, big titted blondes, and then his little protege, Owen Schroyer. But other than that, he didn't like routinely help out other truth seekers and truth fighters in the revolution. And I think if you're not going to do that, then what use are you? So, and again, Rex Bear doesn't do it. DJ gives a shout out, but he would never platform me an interview on, what's the lockdowns been like for the last 2 years. I sent him emails to administrator at Dark Journalist or whatever, and he'd never responded. I even subbed his memberships, $60 a year, and there's no forum to discuss anything. So it's not like they're really reaching out to people. They got their own game going. And that's all right. That doesn't hurt my feelings. Thanks, Nicholas. I certainly appreciate that, man. That really puts the lead in my pencil. Yeah, that's my pops, man. My pops had fucking golden golden ticket one-liners. That was one of them. He had hundreds of them, though, man. I thought about sitting down with my sister, and I was going to do this with my sister and my brother, both my sisters and my brothers, and just make a biography of my dad's life, and then like put all of the pithy one-liners in there that he used to say because he had, I swear, hundreds of them, and I can't remember all of them. But I sat down and I wrote like 50 down one day, and they're all like fucking golden, like monkey see, monkey do, right? That type of thing. Uh, I could give you them over, I could go on ad nauseum, but I never made that happen, man. I was never able to. And thank you again, Nicholas. And have a great day, man. Thanks for tuning in. And I appreciate you coming by. Hit the thumbs up on your way out the door. Yeah, don't let the door hit you in the don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Right. That's another one from my pops. Right. And I'm sure everybody's pops had them. But my dad, he was born in New York, spent 20 years in the Navy during World War II, the Korean conflict. He saw it all. He saw from the very beginning. He saw from the end of World War One to the end of the Korean conflict in port and on a ship and as an officer and doing all this crazy horse shit. That means he saw the entire world when it was really happening. The greatest generation. And then he started his own used car dealership that he ran for 30 years. So imagine the amount of pithy one-liners that guy fucking amassed. He had the charisma of a Hollywood movie star and the good looks to back it up, but he had the work ethic of a fucking draft horse. And think Mad Men. Have you ever watched Mad Men? I think they stole my dad's story, like guys that were close to him in Hollywood, because he was close to like Jimmy Gymnopoulos of Paramount Pictures. He was close to a lot of high level people. And I think they basically just ripped off my dad's life story to make the Don Draper story of Mad Men, because that was my dad, just outside of the advertising industry. But yeah. So if you saw Don Draper's life in Mad Men, that was my dad's life story right there, stolen from him, I'm sure. Or at least there were other military men that probably had that same life story, and maybe it was one of the other greatest generation Navy guys that. And I think the Don Draper they made him an Army guy, not a Navy guy. Oh God, it's awesome. But my dad didn't drink either. So like Don Draper stays drunk 90% of the time. And my dad didn't smoke, but he was Don Draper-esque minus the cigarettes and alcohol. And he didn't drink that much coffee either. He typically had 1 or 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and that was it. He wouldn't drink coffee throughout the day. He wouldn't drink sodas. But anyway, he was a Superman in my mind. My godlike hero when I was a child. Because I was late, he was 50 when I was born, so he was already at the apex of man's lifespan. When you hit 50, they say that's the halfway point. You should be able to live to 100. Yeah, have a look at Mad Men. It's worth watching. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Like it shows an era when men were men and women were women. I mean, I don't know your guys' opinions on that shit, but there's one or two gay guys in it, but they're not openly gay because that shit's still frowned on. Um, One of his secretaries has a lesbian experience, so it's quite progressive for its time. It's a portrayal of the 1950s. Uh, Good stuff. Really, really well written. Um, don't know how many seasons it went. But fun TV. I mean, if you do enjoy TV, then it's definitely fun television. And it wasn't. It seems like it wasn't on pay-per-view. Like it was on regular cable television. So really cutting edge for that time. I don't know, Chris. If any of you guys want to join the chat and go live with me, let me know. I'll open it up and we can get in here and do a real-time interview. We can talk to each other real time. That's always fun. I know Simon tuned in and did that once. Andrew did it. Uh, Occult Priestess came on one time. I'm willing to platform any. It's still got a bit more. So Russell on his face says the right things and even gets spiritual a bit. Yet he has come out with things snuck in between long diatribes that stink of his owners. Yeah, see, that's what it kind of irks me a little bit with anybody that does that. Like, in order to be propelled on these platforms, you have to get handlers and you have to get sponsors and stuff like that. Like even that guy over at the Quartering, I watch him sometimes. Like he's got sponsors and handlers, but he still sticks pretty close to his own childlike truth. And so I can even appreciate his presentation more than like Tim Pool. Um, and I'm not begrudging Tim Pool or Styx Hexenhammer, but what's that guy's name over at the Quartering? I don't know if you guys watch the Quartering. No, the link doesn't show up in the chat. I don't see any link. Yeah, the Quartering's fun to get your daily ups, you know, get the updates on the big news stories. I can't remember his name though. Yeah, Jonathan or something. Hey guys, this is blah 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 at the Quartering. It's funny. He doesn't make much of an impression, which is good. You know, the man should disappear. The message should be for first and foremost. Yeah, Russell Brand tries to make you feel like he's one of us, where he's not, man. The insider, he's as deep in it as any of them. In fact, I'm taking a little drink of the adrenochrome right before he does, because he's fucking speaking 300 words a minute, easy, and you can't maintain that at that age. You can't maintain that kind of daily emotional display without killing yourself. So here's what you should do, I think, Chris. Give us the link without the www.youtube.com or whatever. Just write like the link sometimes appear as yo dot to be forward slash Frank Monday or whatever forward slash 9204 JHM091 or whatever. Put it like that without the www, and then it'll give us the link because it'll let some things slip through, active links slip through. I mean, that's just I'm thinking if you want to share a link. The other thing is to put it in the comments on either. I can post links as the moderator of the channel, but you can't post links. Like, let's see if this will go through. www.buymecoffee.com forward slash Frank Monday. Did that go through? Can you see that? The other thing, I think I could make you a moderator, Chris, if you want to be a moderator. And I'm not sure what that would entail you to do, but if I think I could trust you. And if you're not going to go in there and change my channel and delete my videos or upload any kind of crazy shit. Yeah, so you can see my links. If I made you a moderator, maybe it lets you post links. And I thought about that. There's a couple of you that I would, if you want to be moderators and you know how that works, I would definitely make you a moderator, like you and Miss Mary Moon. And that's about it. Anyone else who's interested in it, maybe Monsieur Tiedrick. He's on here a lot if he wants to be a moderator. So anybody that wants to be a moderator, put it down in the comments below. And if you think that's something that, I mean, I don't know if I don't know if it has any requirements or anything, or if I can set it a certain way, but I'll look into that because I was opening a live stream the other day and it said assign moderators. Like I was getting in there deep, like DJ does, you know, because DJ likes to go deep. He likes to go balls deep. And so I was going balls deep on the YouTube channel shit, and it said that I could make people moderators, and I'm like, I don't even know how to do that. Yeah, ban spammers. I mean, you wouldn't even have to do that. Just show up as moderator. That's another thing about Morgue Official. Do you ever watch Morgue Official? Like, everyone in Morgue Official's chat is a moderator. He doesn't even like all he has is moderators. So I guess he makes everyone that like signs up to his channel or pays his membership a moderator. So I'll try. Have you ever done that before? Do you know how it works? LOL, 8 million, a huge Tao. I do the mundane daily. Yeah, Sandra, you're one of the first teachers of Tao that I ever met. My own mother, right? Morgue Official, yeah. Never heard of him. Okay, he's kind of fun to watch, but I think he's full of shit too. It should be Morgue, I believe. He touches on truth, but he has a dogma that goes a little bit above and beyond what I think is within the Hermetic science. Um, and then, like, once you kind of figure out his shtick, like everything he says after that seems disingenuous, and he's just trying to get you to sub so that you can be, so you can have a monthly contribution. If I ever, Chris, you're your brother's keeper. If I ever go in the direction of just doing this to be an e-beggar, make sure you call me out and say, hey Frank, you should go back and watch one of your old videos and remember that you put me on guard duty to make sure that you never became an e-beggar or a shill to the system, and I'm here to be the gadfly on the ass of society and point out that you've deviated from truth and you're now turning into a commercial product. I don't ever want that to happen. Yeah, good man. Thank you for that, Chris. I appreciate that. You got my back. Okay. No, I know you're not into magic, Sandra. You thought that you might be interested in it for a little while, and you guys fucking put it in Natasha's head that witchcraft was fun, but that wasn't the way to go with Natasha, man. That was the wrong situation for her. Magic was good for me, but it's not good for everyone. And I'm not a practitioner of witchcraft. I never have been. I'm a practitioner of esoteric Taoism and Hermetic science, which is different. So yeah, I felt a little bit bad about that because it was all my magic books and witchcraft books laying around the house that might have inspired you guys on that path. And I mean, it took me 30 years to figure it out. And some of those books should not be opened, especially by the uninitiated. So I should have locked all that shit up. I should have locked up my yellow room and boarded the entire thing up so that nobody could have ever gone in there. And that way it would have protected you guys from that. I'm glad the one thing I did though is I didn't leave my guns out because someone would have ended up dead, you know. But that's a little bit concerning to me because magical texts are just as powerful as a gun. And some of those texts are more dangerous than a nuclear bomb. And so that's why we try to protect the uninitiated from high level spiritual knowledge, is because they'll just end up shooting themselves in the foot. Like Tanya, for example, my older sister, she likes to think that, wish magic enough is alone, but it's not. You have to cultivate the pearl of wisdom in order to make wish magic actually work. People get out there and they watch Hollywood's latest presentation of The Secret and they think they understand magic, which they don't. And for that, it's a little bit dangerous, I think, to engage in fantasy. Magic should never be about fantasy. It should be about hard work and loving kindness and humbling oneself before the altar of God, and so on and so forth ad nauseum. Like, yeah, that's the thing. You open up a can of worms if you get into like old grimoires and start doing those incantations without knowing how to cast a magic circle that can protect you, without, getting yourself right with God, and humbling yourself before the angelic forces. Because there's a lot of big bad boys on the park, and if you fuck around with them, they might punish you. Yeah, get past it. That's the way I did it. I just fucking cracked open Pandora's box and got right in there, you know. Um, but luckily, the divine creator, I like to refer to him or her or it, um, as Yahweh. I know it kind of bemoans of Judaism and Abrahamic religions, and people kind of shy away from that these days. But for me, I didn't necessarily know that it was the Solomonic tradition at the time. I mean, I knew I was doing Solomon's magic, and I knew that certain things, but I was a natural magician. I knew how to do it without the books, and just having the books brought confirmation. Yeah, like you, more of a chaotic magi. But I've put myself through the homework that I should have done 40 years ago, or 30, 35 years ago, before I started. With it. So I've done my due diligence after the fact. I tapped into source and was able to cast high level magic at a young age, but I knew that work would be required at the tail end of it. And so I put in, 20 years of self-service here in China, selfless service, humbling myself before, a fucking aggro wife, and helping change her family's fortune, and the fortune of all of China, honestly, you know. Um, yeah, yeah. You have to have some tangible proof. See, that's the awakening through Qigong and stuff like that, is that there are signposts along the way. And you have to be able to encounter those signposts. Otherwise, you would be guilty of insanity. You would be just banging your head against the wall without any kind of tangible result. And then why would you continue with it if there isn't the occasional golden cookie along the way? Yeah, that's one of it. The UFO observer experience, definitely. Those great discs in the sky. I'm brewing myself up another cup of mud here, guys, and I'm really enjoying the time with you guys. Yeah, so thank you for tuning in, Miss Sandra Sue. I love you, and it's good to see you out there in Happy Land. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're able to endure the oppressive heat of the Tennessee Valley, and that you're enjoying yourself. I'm sorry that your phone is so slow. Um, Thank you for taking the time to bring me into this world, and bestowing and choosing my father, so that I've got good looks, a strong work ethic, a sense of humor, and instilling within me the the selflessness of doing housework. Because you did all that shit. You cooked and cleaned and did all the homemaker duties as a housewife. Um, and you even engaged yourself in the professional arena. Once I got to like junior high level, you were working jobs and bought your own car, and showed that you were approved, that you were a go getter. So, yeah, thank you for all of that. Thank you for your selfless service. And they say when you raise a baby, you give up something like 25% of your calcium from your bones. So, Yeah, I'm an offshoot of you. Yeah, it's good to have mom out in the ideas room. Good to see you, Miss Sandra Sue. I love you. Let's get a little jazz as we enjoy this cup of mud. Oh no, my phone's not charged. That's okay. Um, I've been listening to some good jazz recently, man. I'd like to fire up my swing dance Monday nights again. Somebody got behind my back and went into my Chinese social media chat group and changed the name of my. We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. Lunar Light Entertainment, FM radio is experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. Give me a yo as soon as we're back. A technical difficulty to all calls in a timely fashion. Please stay on the line and enjoy some elevator music as we address your call in time. Huh. Okay. So they're fucking feed. All right, let's do this. How long have we been streaming? An hour and a half. Okay, so we're getting to the tail end of it, I guess. Um, if you guys are going to be up for a little while, then I'll wash my face and ready my notes because I had some notes I want to go over. And today I've got an unusually good situation because my wife took the kids to my academy to they're having an open house at the school and I don't have to be there. So everybody's gone and I'm home alone, which is very exciting because I can just open the dark mirror and cast my magic into the aether webs and socialize with you guys. This is my one social day per week now. So if anybody's interested in doing another round, I will come back on and do another hour plus. If you guys are up for that. Yeah. So I'm going to end this one, maybe take a 15-20 minute, get some breakfast, have a sandwich or something, and then I'll be back at it again. If you guys want to, if everybody's down for that. All right. Oh, you emailed me the link. Good. I'll go check that during the blackout. So let's take five and we'll convene back here in a little while, maybe anywhere from, I think 15 to 20 is probably what I'll need. I'll go check that email and then I'll see you all in the abodes of the future. As always, thanks for tuning in, Chris. Sandra Sue, be looking out for the next live stream here in about 15-20. Uh, Good to see Nicholas out there in Happy Land. Thanks for tuning in, Nicholas Smith. Seems like Callie Karen was here at the top of the hour. Yeah, Miss Mary Moon, Monsieur Tiedrick, and Callie Karen all made an appearance at the top of the hour. Let me remind you, please hit the thumbs up, like and subscribe, all that happy horse shit. Check me out on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday if you're interested in a one-time contribution to the channel. You guys know that the black magic keeps the lead in my pencil. And mom, when I say black magic, I mean a black cup of coffee. All of mom's not keeping up. She's just tuning in and out. I'm about to end the stream and come back in about 15-20 minutes, mom. Yeah, so that shows you how the delay interacts with the transmission. You've got to take that into consideration. There's always like a anywhere from 10-15 seconds to up to 2 minutes of delay between what I say, what appears in the ideas room, and how I'm able to interact with that. So you're thinking about a 2 to 3 minute window on interactions, right? It's not all real time. We don't have the level of technology that they had back in the 1960s. You know, the stream and strength of radio communication back in the 1960s was such that you could fly to the moon and directly transmit back real-time live streams without even, you didn't even need a radio tower, you didn't need the proper camera equipment, you didn't need any of that. You could do it wirelessly in 1960s. But today, with all of the wireless technology we have, we can't even live stream from room to room without a delay. So you can see that our technology has definitely taken a dive. I mean, you could fly a man to the moon in under 24 hours back in 19. They didn't like that last comment, so they